I just realized that we called the episode "Riding the Chocolate Worm."
Yeah, I did propose that.
I think we need to try. We need to try harder next time.
This is the connections my post mushroom brain are making. You're like, we were talking about the rip off Willy Wonka thing and the Dune review. So I was like, okay, well there you go. That's an easy
easy title.
Riding the chocolate worm.
Well done.
You know,
amazing poetry, Jake. Pure poetry.
I think so.
Well, yeah. Sorry, we've been absent for a week. I was ill. I wasn't feeling well, and we were also having fun as well.
Yeah,
We've been chilling.
I've like managed to kit out my fucking music making setup like I've been wanting to for fucking years, and so I've just been enjoying myself and having a lot of jams and having a lot of fun. What at 3 in the afternoon PST? I don't know what PST is, bro. Is that Pacific Standard Time? That's not English time. So that means nothing to me. It's like 10:30 here. It's 10:30.
Wait, what does the comment
Oh well,
say?
I know it's late evening over in the UK. Hope you're stoned for this episode. More stoned for this episode than the last one. Yeah, fair play. Fair play. I was trying to keep it straight because when I asked stoned questions, I got not many kind of responses that you would get in a stoned conversation about those things, so I just sort of left it. But we're gonna have lots of stoned conversations today. Don't worry about it.
Don't worry about it. Well, yeah, we're back, and thank you for coming tonight. So I guess we should dive right in with the Willy Wonka AI catastrophe. That couldn't happen anywhere else. It had to be the UK.
Specifically Scotland as well, which is
I feel because the reason I think that is because I think that Americans are like more tech savvy and would have seen through the fact that this was some AI generated like fiasco.
See, I think you are fucking discounting our Celtic brethren here a little bit.
I just imagine like hobbits like in the Shire being like, oh look, Willy Wonka's coming to town and like taking all their like
he was Gandalf or something.
Yeah, like he's Gandalf with like the fireworks.
I don't think so. It was weird. It was really trippy because I think it was literally like the weekend before we did a book club, and I had made some really schizo fucking
association
between
the Tibetan Book of the Dead and Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory.
Yeah.
For those of you who don't know, we have a book club that we do in our Discord, which is like on Patreon.
We've got the last episode coming, and then we're going to be putting them all on the on the channel just for people to watch. So if you wanna check it out, feel free to, because it's it's been really good fun. I feel like it's a good companion to go along with
reading
the
that holy text. But then also we're going to be opening up book club again for voting soon, because we're going to be moving on to a different
new
book.
one.
But anyway, Jake made some schizo comparison between the Tibetan Book of the Dead and Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory.
Yeah, because it was basically like
a bardo
where there is like this
wrathful spirit embodied
being
by Willy Wonka,
and all of the other children that have like fall prey to some
greed.
Kind of sin or something like that. They all get their various punishments, and then Charlie, the boy with the golden heart, literally ascends through the roof,
reaches enlightenment,
and fucking like is super enlightened. So I feel like that is definitely what Roald Dahl was trying to signal with that piece of literature.
It was a secret theosophical text.
Dude, he was around when all of that stuff would have been super in the college dorms and shit.
I doubt that he was a theosophist.
I wouldn't be surprised.
I highly doubt that Roald Dahl was a theosophist. But,
he was a very grumpy man, apparently.
Yeah, your granddad had a run-in with Roald Dahl.
My granddad scrumped apples from him, and he shouted at him.
Yeah,
even though his wife was very kind to him, despite his peasant status.
Roald Dahl was like an aristocrat, wasn't he?
He was,
and he also liked the Nazis or something.
And he shouted at all of the working class boys. To get off his land.
Your granddad being one of
them. Those are my apples. And he's like, all right, dude, like, you don't seem like you're fantastic Mr. Fox at all.
Well, anyway, back to the schizo thread you went on, you mentioned this like weird comparison between the Tibetan Book of the Dead and Willy Wonka, and then lo and behold, this crazy thing happens like a week afterwards.
Yeah.
Am I saying that you're psychic? No.
The synchronicity for it was pretty crazy.
Yeah.
And then at the same time, I think you've also been reading and researching for your new video and sort of the mercurial spirit or mercurial essence or, you know, spirit of the times or however you kind of want to put it is, you know, like is so well represented by a figure like Willy Wonka as well.
Yes.
Or Willy the Unknown, chocolate maker that hides in the walls. And there was like a meme going around when this whole chocolate fiasco happened, which was like this sounds like it was a Always Sunny in Philadelphia like not sketch but like episode.
Yeah, like they are like, oh, we have like a get rich quick easy scheme. Yeah, let's use AI to generate like
it's great and I'll be Willy and I'll hide in the walls, the haunted chocolatier. He's like, what did you even watch the movie? And he's like, what movie?
Oh my god, we should make that. We should AI generate that episode.
That would be really funny, actually. I don't know if it's really horrible because these days you see something really interesting or impressive on the internet and you're kind of not sure like how it's been done, and it kind of in some ways even you suggesting it might have been AI is kind of like quite undermining to the amount of art that went into it. Like I showed you that one that was the Lego version of a sketch of one of them. Yeah. I don't know if I should say what the sketch is about because we were only in the first 10 minutes on a YouTube live stream. But it was a Always Sunny in Philadelphia joke that they've done in Lego, and you for a second you're like, oh whoa, I bet they've like done AI to just like literally replace it. But it's like no, someone's like painstakingly crafted that in Blender and like done all the camera angles and made it look like really amazing. And you've just been like, oh, this looks like AI.
Before we move on though, let's go look at the chat. What are people saying in the chat? Sorry.
It's too sunny and nice here in LA. Help. Oh, nobly born, listen undistractedly, be not attracted to the chocolate fountains, for they are creations of your own mind.
Yes,
exactly, J. George.
You get
exactly.
it. You get it. You get it. Well, like I guess like moving on to the mercurial.
Well, yeah. What happened with the chocolate thing is basically this guy made like a poster, an AI generated script, everything, and then he hosted this event, I guess you could like the Fire Fest of children's events.
Yeah, pretty much.
In a warehouse in Glasgow, I
where
think
he had tricked some poor Scottish hobbits into thinking they were going to have a wonderful sensory experience.
Sold tickets for this thing on Facebook, on like Twitter and all the social medias
quid,
and stuff.
But that's kind of sus. Being like promised Willy Wonka level dreams for 30 quid. I would already have kind of felt that was sus. Because I've had this dream since I was a kid. Because I was kind of a Veruca Salt child.
No way.
Believe it or not.
What a surprise.
And I went to my mummy and I demanded to have a Willy Wonka themed chocolate birthday party. And I didn't understand why the chocolate river wasn't a thing. Because I was like, what a beautiful idea. Why is it that in the adult shitty world something like this doesn't exist?
Have you been to Cadbury's World?
No, I've never been to
like the Cadbury's factory.
No,
that's kind of as close as you can get.
Really?
And it's pretty amazing. It's pretty awesome.
When did you go to Cadbury's?
I got to go there for a business studies school trip.
Amazing.
Back in the day.
That's so cool.
And of course, the pressing issue on everybody's mind was why the fuck are Freddo's 20p now instead of 10p? Because it was when they'd first started raising the prices of Freddo's, and people were going fucking nuts. I think they're 30p now.
Wow. 30p for a fucking Freddo.
I sound like an old bastard. But,
Oh my god. But yeah, it's a very difficult thing to make happen. 30 quid is a sus amount of money.
I mean, to dress somewhere up and what, you're going to walk someone through an experience that is at tops an hour, And so you've got this warehouse open for fucking 8 hours. Your fire marshal dude says you can have I don't know, 20 people in there at once.
I don't know. I
30,
feel like if
30
you're
fucking
internet
quid
savvy,
a
you would
pop.
know that the internet.
You can make a decent fucking little fucking wedge on that, mate.
I feel like if you're
problem.
internet and culturally savvy, you would know that an AI generated poster is
what
like
it looks
super
like,
low
what the
effort.
AI generated art looks like.
Yeah, it's low effort and shoddy.
Well, it's not even that. It's just it's still that point where, especially the way this guy done it, because he really didn't give a shit. But it kind of had that look where it did look like it was AI art, if you know what I mean. Where there's some mid-journey stuff now, and there's some bits where you can prompt something, and you're like, that just looks like a photo of Tokyo. Like, I'm totally fucked. Like, that's crazy. And then there's stuff where it's like, it kind of looks a little bit blobby or sort of like liquidy and sort of doesn't really
mercurial.
Mercurial is maybe a good word for it.
It's the archetype. It is the archetype that's coming forth. I'll get into the schizo shit later on.
It feels like it just sort of it does sort of, it's less some of the earliest or bad models or whatever the fuck he was using. Maybe it was the DALL-E one, because I feel like that was the worst one that you can use at the moment. It just like it's not very defined in comparison to everything else that you can kind of do that's like really impressive.
Lo and behold, this sort of low effort AI scam spat out this sort of like hyper real dystopia of a warehouse event.
Well, not even. Then it was basically like some trestle tables. Yeah, with a bit of chocolate.
But that's literally it. Like people went in
some very small like quarter cup glasses of lemonade.
And also just one jelly bean per child, because they were running children. Out of jelly beans.
And then some actors in some pretty like, you know, terrible costumes given an AI script. So this guy had like done a one-man installation essentially, which in some senses is like kind of, you know, impressive if it wasn't a scam and it wasn't like shit. But it, you know, if I think we read an article where it was sort of saying like when you get the reduction in price of the technology for sort of some of the projection backwall stuff that they're using instead of green screen and stuff like that, like for the Mandalorian and on Hollywood shoots and stuff like that, then that sort of thing is going to be a lot more doable if someone gives a shit and actually, like, you know, wants to put something together. It's going to be way more actually kind of doable to just be one person and do everything like that.
Yeah, but then again, the more these tools become easy and accessible, the easier it is for people who want to make low effort shit to like do that. And that's the thing, like obviously there can be creative uses of technology, just like you brought up CGI and stuff, like there are creative uses of CGI, and then there are people who use CGI because they want to cut corners and be low effort, in the same way that this person thought that they could like 3D print / AI generate a like fucking Willy Wonka event for children, man, and like profit from it. I feel like we're gonna see a lot more of this shit. And it was just this weird intersection between like the internet and like a clearly like very naive population of parents and children. Poor Scottish hobbits, as someone said in the chat. They didn't deserve to be tricked by the mercurial trickster that has been unleashed.
No, they didn't. But I think that it's interesting. As soon as when I started making my like techno jams, I've been making these like crazy cyberpunk techno jams on my new Ableton Push. And the first dance I did was this weird, like, mysterious thing. And I told you I was Willy the Unknown.
You did tell me that you were Willy the Unknown. Do you want to show people the unknown?
The unknown.
Because the script for this event was like totally AI generated. I'm pretty sure everyone's already seen this.
What is that? It's the unknown.
Apologies.
Apologies.
I'm still setting up the OBS on the thing. Hang on.
2 seconds.
Fuck it. That was the only clip we're showing today anyway, so we'll just stay on this page. And
Can they hear us?
They can
Can
hear
you
us now. They can hear us now. They can hear
Oh,
us
for
now.
fuck's sake! How long were we out for?
Just when we were showing the clip, they could hear the thing.
Sorry.
So Willy the Unknown is that was what he looks like. And what I was saying is basically, I think that if you now know that it was all AI generated, you can kind of reverse engineer what the prompt might have been to have come up with all of this madness.
I don't think you can.
Which is like Scottish Willy Wonka. Willy Wonka is a mysterious, chocolate maker that fucking nobody has seen or something like that.
So what? They were trying to hide it for the IPs.
And so the AI then is like, oh, okay, so something based on Willy Wonka, this mysterious chocolate maker, would be Willy McDuff, the unknown chocolate maker that hides in the walls. That like covers and ticks all the boxes of what you just said.
Well, that
prompt.
makes me think that the parents who fell for it are even more naive, because it's not even Willy Wonka. It's not even pretending to be Willy Wonka.
I think it did just say Willy's chocolate experience in the title of the poster. So
it kind of reminds me of the Uncanny Valley effect of those like memes of like Russian theme parks with like knockoff Disney characters.
Oh, like Grumpy Donkey and stuff like this.
Yeah. It's got that kind of Uncanny Valley effect.
Cat in shoes.
And I was saying before we cut out that like with the 90s kids, like millennials, we had like a really child-centric culture.
Yeah.
And a lot of good stuff was like created by people who actually cared about children's entertainment that we got to enjoy the benefit of. But this is like what kids these days are being given. They're being traumatized by like fucking AI generated characters popping out from behind mirrors. Like,
well, you say everybody cared. I think everybody cared, but everybody was also just like having as much fun as they possibly could.
Yeah,
like,
that shows in the movies that we had growing up. Like,
there was even into like the Teletubbies.
Yeah,
they were
were they on cocaine?
Yeah, there was an interview with a guy on Vice, and he was just like, they like doing all of this. Like he didn't say it out loud, but they were fucking. And I've read bare articles about that as well. They're all like doing bare drugs.
But even in a more wholesome sense, something like I don't know, The Emperor's New Groove, like. Eartha Kitt hadn't done anything in years, but you could tell how much fun she had playing Yzma as a character, and like how much of herself she like poured into it.
That movie is incredible. It's so fun. I found out recently that a friend of mine actually worked on that.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Oh wow.
And fucking what's it? We were saying about like things looking AI or like 3D if they're like handcrafted and stuff. He sent me this video of some of the stuff they do in some of the movies they work on today, and it's just like absolutely mind-boggling.
Night and day, yeah.
It's just so incredible, and then so it does make me. So, especially after watching that, I was really like, oh man, I've got to stop like getting carried away with this like AI generated shit, because there's like it's thousands of people's like fucking lives that have gone
not
into
even
like
just
making
that fucking
amazing
Toy Story
stuff.
They made that shit before like the ad on like fucking floppy disks.
Yeah, that does fuck my head up.
And it was like fucking thousands of hours of work and people and love and like, people who cared about story and children. And now you have like opportunity. I said it on our episode with Low Res, like how in like the children's sort of section of YouTube and stuff, you have all these opportunists now who are trying to sort of game the algorithm
to
make money.
Yeah,
and it's the same thing with this like event that happened. It has all the sort of child signally things. Like there's this been god awful Timothy Chalamet version of Willy Wonka that's out in the cinema now. That is
I haven't seen it, so I can't
it's
comment on it.
It's in the zeitgeist, so it has all the thing. It's got the algorithm figured out about what kids might be watching or interested in, and tried to find a way of profiting off of that in
I don't know.
Cheap, shoddy, fucked up way.
I think the difference in it really does come from the sheer economics of it, right? Like if you think about something like Teletubbies or like whatever, like a BBC show, that is paid for by the BBC.
Yeah,
so all of these professionals, they're paid their freelance or their yearly or however much time they're allocated on the show.
Very true.
They're paid that money, and they're paid that money to make the best possible show within
possibly can,
very strict guidelines
yeah.
and remits for the type of audience that they're making it for, because it's
True.
public money and they can't be seen wasting it, and like
True.
all of these sorts of
True,
things.
true,
And
true,
so that kind, and maybe I'm like kind of glamorizing the BBC a little bit, but like that's the
it's
ideal.
the English way.
That's
It's what we do.
It's like that's the ideal. That's the
That's the
ideal of like how
Yeah,
it should
yeah.
work. Obviously, that's not how
Yeah.
things panned out, and we all know that, okay? But
Yeah.
like, we don't need to go into the various people that made that like the way it was and happened. But the ideal is exactly that. And so from that, you did have exactly what you said, these handcrafted shows of people really giving a shit, really like making something for kids. Whereas now the economic model is to get attention. It's not that you're paid for.
Yeah.
You're given very strict guidelines,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
you're
yeah.
paid for it, and so everything's kind of like actually kind of set up for you to
No.
just work on this thing.
No.
Instead, you have to figure out a way to capture attention of children
Yeah, basically.
without anything else but a photo and a line of text,
Yeah.
basically.
Yeah.
You need to be able to capture their attention and then hold it whilst after they've clicked on the fucking video. So it's
Yeah.
not the same as like being plopped in front of the fucking TV and
Or
SpongeBob
your
is on
yeah,
or
or
whatever
your
the
parents
fuck.
taking you to the movies. Like
Yeah.
that, the experience of like going and watching a film for kids, or that's a family film that's like aimed towards families or whatever.
Yeah.
And like just having the element of people who actually give a shit. That's not to say that there aren't uses of the technology that can be creative, but like a lot of the people that are using them aren't using them to be creative. They're using them to cut corners and to avoid having to be creative.
Jason K. I haven't looked at any. I mean, the kids YT material, I've seen it only through sort of basically reaction content. I've not trawled through it myself. But it's like all of that kind of Elsa Gate shit, and I would say even things like Miss Rachel and stuff to a degree. It's sort of like, it's not like, she's pretty wholesome, and I'm not saying she's like toxic or anything like that, like she's a negative or a malignant
My nephew's like obsessed
influence.
with Miss
But
Rachel.
it's certainly not like it's the best case example of the worst case economic model.
Yeah, Miss Rachel,
in my
she
opinion.
basically teaches kids how to talk, and like I think she studied behavioral psychology.
And I'd be interested if like kids, because the thing I'm talking about is kids like trawling through that shit on their own time.
Yeah.
Not like people plopping them in front of the TV when they're doing stuff or whatever, and they're seeing what they're doing. But like when they've got the iPad and they're just fucking surfing, baby, they're surfing the net.
I don't believe
at like
in that.
5 years old.
That's terrible.
And
I
that
would
fucking
never allow.
rocks my brain, man.
I would never allow that shit. That's crazy to me.
It's pretty wild. I mean, I was able to find some pretty crazy shit when I was young.
Yeah.
And that was in the early days of the internet as well.
But even the Miss Rachel thing, like she's sort of being portrayed as this sort of wholesome children's character, but like her whole aim is to teach kids how to speak. But isn't that like parental duty? I can't imagine like putting an iPad in front of my kids so that they can learn their ABCs. Like, I would want to teach them that.
Yeah. I mean, maybe in this like crazy world,
cyberpunk
Angie,
dystopia.
You don't have time because you're
put the
fucking
baby in front of the information downloading machine.
You're too busy trading bitcoins to be fucking worried about teaching your kid ABCs. Okay.
Oh my gosh. Oh, well, now you can take them to be traumatized by mercurial characters that have been unleashed from the depths of the digital unconscious.
Mentioning Bitcoin briefly, we'll just put a little PSA out for all of our audience. It's coming around again. Don't fall for that shit.
Oh my
Please,
God.
don't be a sucker. Like, what did George Bush say? Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, won't get fooled again. Don't get fooled again, brother. Don't get fooled again. Okay. It's all scams all the way down. Don't fucking even bother. Okay. It's not a rabbit hole worthwhile.
Oh my God. Someone said something to me, but I'm not wearing glasses, so I can't see. What does it say?
Does Angie ever channel Deleuze or Debord on a Ouija board?
How sweet. Maybe I should give it a try.
I don't know who the first one is. I think I've heard of.
Do I look like the type of person that would use a Ouija board?
You're too white magic. You're too white hat for Ouija boards, despite
you think so?
Despite your gothy, like, Black Wednesday Addams vibe, like approach.
You think I'm too love and light?
You are. You've got way too much like
be dabbling in the
sweet,
dark side.
You've got way too much sweetheart angel energy.
Oh my goodness.
To be doing things like Ouija boards, in my opinion.
Don't tell on me. But yeah, if I was going to use a Ouija board, I probably would use it to summon Carl Jung.
I wouldn't summon anyone because you're fucking with shit you don't understand. How many movies?
You don't like necromancy.
How many movies and stories do you need to read about something crazy like that for you to just finally go, you know what? I'm not gonna do that. That's gonna be a fucking stupid idea.
You're not a fan of Ouija boards?
No. No. Not at all. Not at all.
Well, speaking of witches and Ouija boards, we saw Dune this weekend.
We did.
Dune 2, expressly for the purpose, because I wanted to see the Bene Gesserit, obviously. That was like the only reason.
I was surprised you sort of like weren't really fussed on the first Dune, and then all of a sudden you're like, hey, let's go out and see Dune tonight. It was just like,
well,
wow, okay. I wasn't expecting that from you.
The thing is, I felt compelled to, because I wanted to see if it was like, because it's like in the zeitgeist, and it seems like the Zoomers are really like about it or whatever, like the younger ones.
Really about Dune? Is it because Timmy's in it?
Maybe, and Zendaya as well.
That's like they're shipping them.
Yeah, no, they have no chemistry in the.
They don't.
They have absolutely no fucking chemistry at
yeah,
all.
I mean, carry on, and we'll talk about my miscastings and stuff later as we go.
Jason K says, point taken, Mr. Jake. About what?
What we just said, probably about Ouija boards, fucking with shit you don't know about.
No chemistry with Zendaya and Timothée Chalamet, but the Zoomers seem to really like the film, and I was like, maybe it's introducing Dune to a whole new generation, which I'm pro, because I think it's really a really important text for our time, for our time period, the period that we're entering, and I wanted to see how many of those themes were actually done well in the movie. And also because the second movie gets more into the actual plot of Dune, whereas the first one was just kind of setting things up. I was like, let me give it a chance. Maybe
big setup.
Maybe the meat and potatoes will actually unfold in this second iteration of Dune.
And I did like the first Dune a lot more on a second viewing, I must be honest. It was
I don't know, you got to see it in a very special theater, and I think you were just like mesmerized by it. You were awed and shaken by the.
It's one of those things where it is a cinematic experience, but there are still things that I have problems with, I guess. But I guess it's also just like, are you being a picky arsehole? It's like a $200 million film.
So what?
Like, who gets to make stuff like that? You know, you should be lucky and glad that you even get to enjoy.
No.
Oh, for that's the sort of like vibe you get when you sort of say, "Oh, I have problems with this."
No, that's bullshit. I think that's absolute fucking horseshit. And anyone who takes that kind of approach towards cinema is not a lover of like storytelling.
But I don't know. But the first one, I think that was perfectly cast almost all the way through, bar Zendaya, because I didn't think that she was good and wasn't.
Her as Chani was not a good cast.
I didn't think she was good in the first one. I didn't particularly like her in this one either.
I also didn't like Jessica, the lady who they cast to play Jessica.
I think she's all right. I don't have a problem with her. I don't recognize her as an actor or understand Jessica as a character beyond like what she's shown in the film.
You've not read the books. Jessica's not like fucking weak. She doesn't like spend.
This lady doesn't seem weak.
She does. She spends half the movie flopping around and she seems crying and stuff. That's not Jessica. And also like Jessica's arc is explained better, and so is Paul Atreides' arc. Whereas like in this version, Paul basically turns into Darkpool.
Well, before we
without like any real explanation for why.
Before we do all the things we don't like, should we say all the things we did like about it?
Well, for me, I was looking forward to the Bene Gesserits, and I did enjoy the way that they were portrayed. I liked their costumes. I liked who was cast as the Bene Gesserit sisters. I thought all the actresses were really phenomenal. I loved Frances Pugh as Princess Erelon. I loved her outfit. It was giving Joan of Arc. The whole like headgear situation like was just spot on. Like fucking loved it. What else did I like? I was disappointed about some of the more mystical elements and how they were handled. Like the water of life scene should have been more, you know. There's like an orgy that happens. There was no spice orgy. They cut out the fucking spice orgy.
We're talking about things we like.
Sorry.
Talking about things we like.
Well, like, I don't know. I felt like it was really lackluster, and I also
okay, so that's not things. Okay, so let me say the things I like, and then we'll go into things we don't like.
I don't know. I thought that the okay, you go into what you like, and then I'll complain.
Okay,
let's do that.
So I really liked a lot of the action sequences in this Dune 2. I thought it was really well cinematography, like fucking really well shot, looked incredible. I thought a lot of the sort of special effects and stuff looked absolutely amazing. I think that, you know, and I think that's pretty much the only two good things that I've got to say.
You made all that fuss. You made all that fuss for no
about
reason.
Dune.
You tried to make it seem like I'm some kind of.
It's not bad. It's not bad. That's the thing. It's not like bad. It's not and it's not cringe. It's watchable, but it's just there's a lot of things in there that I feel are lacking, which make it not like I'm super fucking fussed about it.
Let's go into what those things are. And I guess we should start with the fact that the reason why the spice melange is important is actually like never
explained or even really mentioned or even given any kind of context whatsoever in the film.
They cut out the mentats.
In either film. And so at this point, at the end of the second film, you have spent 5 hours in this universe and you don't know why people are fighting over this stuff that these massive fucking worms that everyone's so excited about even fucking make, or even their purpose. Yeah. Right? And that's kind of you wouldn't even understand that.
No. And the thing is, the reason
watching those films, if you hadn't known anything about Dune before watching the films.
They cut out the mentats, which would have been an easy way to explain why the spice is so important. And also the Butlerian jihad would need to be explained as well, because the reason they need the spice is because they're a civilization that declared war on machines and instead decided to expand their consciousness as a way of further human evolution and development. They didn't go the technological route, and the spice is what enables them to do shit like navigate space and achieve all of their crazy feats. They need the spice to basically power their civilization, and that's not really made clear. Like the weapons, the law, all of it's just not there. It's not there. It's not Dune. It's like a fucking action adventure film based on the Dune novels. Yeah. That's kind of why I didn't like it very much, because there was so much missing. And the parts that were, because obviously it's such a weird, abstract, crazy, psychedelic space opera. So obviously in adapting it, you have to cherry pick things and but the things they chose to cherry pick made very little sense. And a lot of the characters who were given screen time made no sense. The Harkonnens were fucking disappointing. Gayday Prime sucked. Like they invoked Black Sun imagery to be like, ooh, Nazi scary. And it's like such a shorthand for evil. There's so many more reasons why the Harkonnens are like fucked up and evil.
Well, they don't really give any context as to why they do all the bad stuff that they do. They just sort of like, and like there's I think with the first time you see the Baron in this second one, he like, slight spoilers I guess, like he fucking murders like two women behind this door
just
because he's evil. Yeah. And it's sort of like, well, what there's no fucking context. There's nothing shown for any of it. Yeah. And for me, I think as well, like as a bit of cinema as well, and just like watching it, I think it's really, really dull. Yeah. I don't know why they've chosen to make everything so dull. Like
Well,
even
fucking
the
David Lynch did the same damn thing with his version of Dune. One of its grave sins is that it's like so boring. And the thing about Dune is
visually though,
yeah.
when you see the screenshots of David Lynch's Dune, at least it's colourful. At least that like
there's
you
a
can.
there's a campiness to it, which
Well, it's
is like part of
bright
his,
orange and like you
yeah.
know all of the. There's a lot of like otherworldly stuff going on to make you really feel like you're somewhere otherworldly.
Yeah.
Whereas this looks like it's a massive desert
in California
that is
like
just
it's Joshua Tree.
that is a massive
years in the future.
that is a massive desert that you would recognize maybe in the middle of Sahara or something like this. Like it just doesn't look
but
foreign
Dune is
at
set,
all.
There's space shit in Dune. There's all kinds of things that could have made it more visually interesting. The casting was weird. Like
Christopher Walken as the
Emperor. What
was
the
the
fuck?
biggest misstep I feel like in the whole thing.
I was expecting him to break out into dance like
as soon as he opened his mouth, it just sounded. It's literally just like he's like, "What's going on?" He just says, "What's going on here?" or something like that, and you're just like, "Dude, it just sounds like you're about to, I don't know, do a Christopher Walken
or give
and
like a long speech about a watch that you were like hiding in your ass." It was very bizarre. Yeah, Frances Pugh as Princess Irulan was great though.
She was good.
The Bene Gesserit were cool. Jessica, I don't like her, and the actress as well has been like on this weird like tour on social media recently, where she's calling out an unnamed actor who she worked with on set that was apparently rude and abusive towards her or whatever.
What does that mean?
And it's like, why are you using the press tour for Dune to like call out some unnamed actor?
What is that?
And if you're gonna call someone out, at least tell us who you're talking about. Like,
and
why
what
be
and
like,
what that actually even means? That like being rude could mean anything.
Yeah, I don't know why she's like, she just seems.
He knows I like banana nut muffins, and he took the last one, even though he knew I wanted it.
Well,
Jessica, that's but it's not anything to go on social media and start trying to paint someone like they could be a fucking rapist.
Jessica is kind of like an almond mom, and she does give off kind of crazy almond.
You're talking about Rebecca
energy.
Ferguson. Is this the lady that plays Jessica?
Yeah, I think that's who it is.
Okay.
But yeah, I don't know. I wasn't a huge
This is a pretty
fan.
brutal critique, guys. So, like, do we all need to team up with Quinn and Danica and start writing Dune 7?
That would be cool.
It's cool. So for me,
But
do you know what I think? I
don't think
kind
it
of
should be adapted as a
no.
movie, a show.
Let me
probably.
finish.
Sorry,
Let me finish.
Go ahead.
It's a
Go ahead.
podcast. You can't let me finish.
Sorry.
Okay?
Go ahead.
Fucking. I think that I stand my fucking ground from the original introduction I had to Dune, which was Jodorowsky's Dune as the documentary series about the incredible psychedelic vision that Alejandro Jodorowsky had for Dune that came short funding-wise and never really happened. The greatest movie that never existed that went on and inspired almost every great sci-fi film for the last 40 years directly from the Dune Bible and the shots that he and Mobius and his team of artists had planned for this version of Dune, which then 10 years later got passed down to David Lynch, and you got that version which was just the book and he hated doing it, and you got that whole fucking story.
Yeah.
But the ethos that Jodorowsky had towards Dune was absolutely fucking correct, because the story is way too much to encapsulate unless you're going to do like an anime or something crazy with
Or
like
a TV
large
show, which we have the capability to do.
Yeah,
Because don't forget, Game of Thrones.
Expensive. This
Like
is all the
George
things, though, right?
R. R. Martin was approached many times by movie studios that wanted to adapt the Song of Ice and Fire series into films, and he refused every time because he knew that the story could not be made into a film, and that if they did, they would have done it. They would have made it about Daenerys and the dragons.
Yeah.
And like deformed everything else.
Yeah.
And it took like HBO approaching him and Dan and Dave approaching him with a big budget and the ability to do 10 episodes a season for him to actually take seriously the idea of his like work being adapted. And I think Dune would need a similar treatment if it was even going to be even remotely adaptable, because the part of the reason Jodorowsky, as much as we like worship his butt or whatever, you know, on this show, as even though Jodorowsky had a great vision, one of the big problems about it was the fact that it was too long, when the Dune Bible was taken to Hollywood executives, they basically predicted that it would have been something like 14-hour long film or something ridiculous. And that's not something, I know Jodorowsky's a pretty visionary filmmaker, but I don't know if I could sit down for 14 hours. I know he said it was going to be the most consciousness expanding, fucking crazy thing in the world. But he was bloated. The vision was really bloated, and it probably would have been hard to fund.
Well, for me, the reason I say not even like a TV show and an anime is because the concepts within it are so psychedelic that the sort of budget and everything else you would need to really do it justice is crazy. And the amount of time as well, just time and everything is so much that I really feel like you could only really do this justice in like a 2D anime.
A 2D anime?
Yeah, like a really well, like handcrafted, fucking amazing looking 2D anime.
That'd be sick.
It would be amazing, and you'd have total freedom to do that. And not only that, I think that
maybe we should go to Japan and
not even just doing like Dune, the story of Dune, but actually get outside of that, man, and like do fucking stories after the events of Dune or before the events of Dune within the Dune universe and stuff, because the whole world and the context of all of the fucking universe that exists for it is so fucking cool. And that's why I get annoyed with the film that it doesn't really go into any of that. Like, why is Baron Harkonnen the way he is, or what the Harkonnens in general the way they are? Is it something about the planet? Is it something just about their culture? Like, none of that is shown in the film, but you would have so much time and space to do all of that if you had like a fucking like Avatar level fucking anime about Dune.
The worst sin of this this movie series is the fact that Paul's heel turn is like botched, and it's not even necessarily clear that a heel turn is going on. Like, he goes to the Fremen open-hearted, you know, thinking that he's helping them fight against corruption, and he doesn't believe in the prophecy about him being like a messiah or whatever. He thinks it's silly. But then, you know, he slowly kind of, as he slowly starts to see the power that could come to him if he takes on that role. It's kind of similar to Frodo and the Ring in Lord of the Rings, where there's this constant temptation to take on power. And what Paul turns into is kind of similar to what Gandalf would have turned into if he had taken the ring from Frodo, basically. He becomes mad with power, and also mad with the idea of like him being the greatest good. And I think that that's like super relevant for our current climate now, and the fact that like they botched the opportunity to put that across thematically really fucked me off. It was so shallow. It was like this like weird, like, it was almost done like victorious in a way, even though it's supposed to be ominous. What occurs is meant to feel ominous, because it is ominous. And it's a commentary on power and human nature, and how when you feel like you're on the right side of history, that can come with pretty bad consequences.
Yeah, I just felt like none of that was really showcased in the film whatsoever.
No.
It was pretty bad. Jodo, to me, is cooler as a quasi-guru than his films per se. I think his films are...
I love Jodorowsky as a filmmaker. I disagree.
His films are basically magic spells, and you kind of need to be in a like open mind space to watch his films. Definitely. It's not like, oh, I'm going to sit down and watch this cult film, like you're going to laugh or you're going to...
They're speaking in a symbolic and unconscious kind of language.
Absolutely.
Like, he's a surrealist in like the truest sense of the word. And I find that kind of thing fun to watch. Some people don't, though. Some people
I haven't actually watched El Topo, but especially his last couple of films where he was sort of, it was almost autobiographical and a spiritual journey of his own life, basically.
They're
and
beautiful.
His dad and the sort of immediate family of him, I guess.
His mom, his brother, his
that was utterly incredible and one of the best like couple of films as a. What would you call that? It's not a trilogy. Is it a trilogy?
It is trilogy. So it's The Dance of Reality, Endless Poetry, and I think there's this third one. I forget.
Don't think so. I think there's only two.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Sorry. I need to look
But
over
yeah,
them.
those two films, as a pair of films or as like a body
Mhm.
of a body of cinema or whatever, absolutely fucking incredible.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
couldn't recommend highly any. You don't need to be in a super magical space to watch that
No.
one, like those ones.
There's an easier narrative to follow along than like in
And
Holy Mountain
it's
or
more
like
human and
Santa's
less
Highway.
spiritual.
Yeah.
Like is kind of how I would put it.
But it's
with
still surreal as fuck and like
Yeah. So
yeah.
yeah, my money, and not only that, I think you could fucking explore Dune with a video game, like not in a pussy way where you're like trying to be really loyal to the story and all of this stuff, but you are literally using it like a backdrop, and you're fucking doing all this fucking epic shit, man. Like I could
Yeah.
totally fucking see it. But
That's what Jodorowsky did in his version that I found admirable, was that he only read the first 100 pages of Dune. And he basically got all the concepts, like the idea of the Bene Gesserit order and some of the more mystical concepts, and basically was telling a completely different story in his version. One that sort of interwove his specific spiritual insights and concepts, and different representations of that. So I think in a way disrespecting the text kind of adds to the quality of what couldn't be produced, especially when it comes to adaptations. Like a lot of the best adaptations are like ones that are not very loyal to the text. But this could have, I could tell he was trying not to do that, and some of the things they cut out made sense. Like one of David Lynch's I would say it's genius, but it's because I love crazy camp weird shit. But there's a character in the books called Elia, I don't know if I'm pronouncing it correctly, but he's Paul's sister. And basically in the books, Paul's mother she's a Bene Gesserit, and in order to become like a reverend mother, you have to go through this thing called the spice agony, which is when you basically transmute poison in your body and like blast open your consciousness. And basically she does this while pregnant, and her fetus becomes a thing called like a preborn, which is like a human being whose consciousness is like fully formed before they're born. And in the David Lynch adaptation, he casts a little girl to play like Elia, and like dubs the voice of Elia like of an adult or something. It was just this weird uncanny valley effect of this like weird smart creepy child. And in this version, Denis Villeneuve basically decides to cast Anna Taylor-Joy for 2 seconds instead, and like ages her up, and also has Jessica speaking to her fetus.
That's an easy paycheck if you're Anna Taylor-Joy, isn't it?
She was dressed up at the Dune premiere like she was an even bigger
she's a big
character.
star in it.
Like she's like got the hijab. I've got my Dune headscarf out.
Do you want to give us your best?
Should I give you my best Anna Taylor-Joy impression?
Or give us your best Dune soundtrack?
I can't do it. I've got a sore throat still a little bit.
Go on.
It's not working. Okay, there we go. Do I look like Zendaya? Do I look like Zendaya now?
Zendaya speaks.
Zendaya speaks. Well, she was Anna Taylor-Joy was dressed up at the premiere like she was the star of the movie, but she was in it for like 2 seconds.
I think everywhere she goes, she's dressed up like that. It's just how she dresses.
She looked great. I thought she looked great. But yeah, it was. I thought that was a good choice in terms of aging up. The weird space baby. But like other than that, a lot of the choices that were made were bizarre.
What's it? Jay George said the reasons why Jodo is great are the same as Lynch, Tarkovsky, and I don't know this other one, Bunnell, I don't know. Oh, great. Know that symbols have power and going all the way with them.
Yeah, exactly.
100%, bro.
Big time.
100%.
Big time. Good appraisal.
Anya was looking like an Iranian auntie, Lamal. Yeah.
An Iranian auntie.
I thought she did look like that in the film, to be fair.
Oh my god.
My old housemate worked with Mobius on Into the Mobius Strip. That's very cool, dude.
Cool.
Yeah, Mobius is like definitely. I mean, every fucking comic fan probably says this. Definitely one of my favorite graphic artists of all time.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely incredible. I think for me, if I'm envisioning the 2D anime of Dune, it's actually a lot more in the style of Chris Foss, who was also an artist illustrator that worked on loads of really classic sci-fi front covers. But then he was one of Jodorowsky's spiritual warriors, as he called them, as the team of people that put together the Dune book. And it's all of his illustrations, actually, of all the spaceships that are made for all the various things in the Dune Bible. And the bits that you see in the documentary, they just are so fucking striking. For me, that and all the building as well, that's kind of all
even
Chris
having
Foss as well.
H.R. Giger design the stuff for
Giger did the Harkonnen ones, didn't he? Yeah.
Fucking sick, dude. That would have been amazing. But even then, I don't know, the House Harkonnen was the most disappointing element of it for me, because I think House Harkonnen in the books is like a really interesting exploration of like evil and opportunism, and there was a good like, you know, and decadence as well. Decadence is like a huge element with the Baron Harkonnen. There was like a huge opportunity there to like say something, but it didn't. And even the parallels with like the Middle East, there's a lot to be said with Dune, but like the film wasn't brave enough to really go there or do anything except for like titillate the Zoomers with like fake nods to like Oriental imagery or whatever. It's like, I don't know. It was weird.
Oh man.
It was really weird. And Zendaya was definitely miscast as Chani. She just seemed really mad, and like that's not how I imagined.
I don't know. I just don't think she had the chemistry with Paul, and Paul is kind of the main character with it. And I don't know and I think Timothy is actually really came into the character of Paul pretty well.
Yeah, he tried really hard.
In the second film, certainly more than the first.
Yeah, definitely.
Whereas I have the same opinion of from the beginning, which is meh. Meh. And everyone says how pretty she is, but I think she's actually quite mid.
Oh my god.
And I'm not being one of those guys that's like, oh, Margot Robbie's mid. Margot Robbie is a fucking goddess, okay? But Zendaya is mid, and I think we can all agree on that.
Yeah, especially in this movie, they usually they sort of, I guess, soften the female lead and like try to romanticize the female lead in a way.
Maybe they had to butch up Zendaya because Timothy's so feminine.
Maybe that's why. But she looked like she had gotten off the struggle bus.
Who would you cast as Chani? George asked.
Younger Zoe Kravitz, I think.
Well, that's not possible, is it? Because we don't have a time machine. So like, who would you cast?
I don't know. I'm trying to think. The girl who's in Atlanta. The one who plays Donald's baby mama.
Oh, yeah.
What's her name? She has like a really weird name.
I don't know. I can't remember her name, but I enjoyed her.
I think she would have been a good Chani.
She was a good actress in that series. I enjoyed that.
She has more spirit and like, you know.
As much as I don't like Donald Glover, I do like Atlanta. That was a good TV series. You have to give him that.
Do you think that he would have made a good Paul Atreides?
Who, Donald Glover?
Yeah, if we're gonna cast a black Paul Atreides. Zazie Beetz, yeah, I love her.
Zazie Beetz,
she's
that's
cool.
the one.
And that's a really cool name as well. She's cool. What was I saying? Do you think that if you were to cast a black Paul Atreides, who would you cast?
A black Paul Atreides.
The guy from Black Mirror, Tea Leaf.
He gets all the parts though.
He's great though.
He's pissing off Samuel Jackson with how many parts he's stealing, so we can't give it to Tea Leaf.
I think he's great though.
I don't know.
I like that Benjamin Clementine.
If you're gonna have Atreides as a black house, you gotta have fucking Lawrence come in as Duke Leto. Come on, dude.
Lawrence
Fishburne, dude.
Really?
Of course, yeah. The fucking the black granddaddy of fucking sci-fi's, mate. Come on.
Oh my god.
How would you not? How would you not?
He's too old now.
That's why he's perfect as Duke Leto.
Duke Leto is not that old.
Black don't crack. He can fucking pull it off. He can pull it off. He can pull it off.
Why not James Earl Jones? Why do you want to exhume his corpse and have him play the Duke Leto instead?
He would be like the Emperor or something. He's too old.
I'm trying to think of who could play Black Paul Atreides.
I don't know. There was this guy in.
We have to wait for one of Kanye's sons to grow up.
No, what was it? There was a guy in what's it? The black film I liked. Jamie Foxx fucking produced.
They cloned Tyrone.
They cloned Tyrone. The guy, he must be Tyrone or whatever in the film. The main guy, he's fucking genius. He's great. I thought he was really good in that film as well. I don't know his name.
Is that your pick for Black Paul Atreides?
Yeah, that wouldn't be an obvious like Donald Glover or like fucking, you know.
I don't know. They need a fresh pool of black talent, I think. In
A
Hollywood.
fresh pool of blacks.
Yeah. and whites too, in all honesty. They keep putting Timothy Chalamet and like fucking
They do. They keep pushing they keep and Austin Butler as well.
Yeah.
I thought he fucking sucked as the young Harkonnen dude.
Why? Because he kept pouting. And
He was
like...
just every shot. He was just like pouting like he was in some sort of perfume advert. Just pissed me off so fucking much. It was just, and I just thought that, yeah. How did he beat up Batista? I'm sorry. How the fuck does that work?
Yeah.
You know, the hench, massive
the
guy that looks
yeah.
like he should be a Harkonnen in real life.
Yeah.
Like, how did weedy little fucking Butler just come up to him and poke him in the belly, and he's like, ooh, no, fuck off. I just don't buy it, man. I don't buy it for a second.
People think our critique is harsh.
I'm sorry, but it just
it's not high stakes for us. Like, there are people who are like movie reviewers and they have to be positive.
And sci-fi
like,
for me
depends on it, but we don't have to be positive if we don't want to be.
Sci-fi is like,
we can be honest.
My favorite genre as well. Like
fantasy is mine though.
I read endless sci-fi. Like sci-fi is my fucking genre. And sci-fi games is like Fallout, fucking Cyberpunk. I play fucking endless fucking sci-fi based games. Like sci-fi is the genre and aesthetic that I really, really like. So when there's a big thing happening in sci-fi, which is inevitably gonna be what this Dune release was, it was interesting to see it. But yeah, I'm sorry, I was not super blown away. I haven't been super blown away by a sci-fi film for a very long time, if I'm completely honest. I think the last sci-fi film that I genuinely did enjoy, I wouldn't say I was blown away by it, but I did genuinely enjoy it, and it has a hell of a lot of heart, and it's certainly a sci-fi film, would be Guardians of the Galaxy 2.
Mm-hmm. I thought you were going to say Lapsus, because you're always talking about Lapsus.
That was the last sci-fi film that genuinely blew me away. That was fucking brilliant. I really highly rate that film. I'm so surprised that it went so under the radar. I guess it was like COVID and all of that kind of shit timing-wise, but like...
I also like the TV show, fucking the one that we like that's on Apple TV. About the offices...
Severance.
Yeah. Severance. I love Severance.
Yeah, that's really good as well.
Severance is a really good sci-fi show. There's still good sci-fi. Three Body Problem is coming out on Netflix.
That has had early mixed reviews.
Oh, okay.
So I am holding my but apparently you can watch the Tencent one that they did online on YouTube for free completely.
What, the Chinese version?
Yeah. Well, with subs.
With subs.
With subs. So, you know, I have been meaning to genuinely give that a watch for a long time.
There's a new Godzilla film that everyone's talking about.
Just won the Oscar for Best VFX.
Yeah. And that's from Japan, isn't it?
It is from Japan. I think it did it on like $20 million.
Wow. Yeah, the Japanese, like, especially their animes, they're cheap to make, and then they make all this crazy amount of money back. Like, I feel like the Japanese are going to take over the fucking model, man. They've got it down to...
You'd think so.
You'd
think so. I don't know. I think it's amazing that they've done that. They're going to start to hire him to do Western movies now.
That's awesome.
Which is kind of cool, but it's also like, be kind of Japanese about it, bro.
Say no, you're not allowed to.
It's like, no, I work for Japan. I make Japanese movies. You know?
Yeah, but I guess
why do I
everyone wants to break into
it's the same. It's the same with that Korean dude, right? The fucking
Parasite.
Yeah. Like, don't go to Hollywood, man. Keep making Korean films, because like that's fucking sick.
Well,
and
what
it's
if
not
Simon
like
Pegg?
everything else.
What if Edgar Wright?
I wish that Simon Pegg had stayed in the UK and he hadn't fucked off to meet Tom Cruise and go and do Mission Impossible and do that whole fucking thing, because he would have been making amazing fucking great British fucking films now. Like, he would not be in between projects between years, because he's paid
Charlie
millions
Brooker
for fucking,
because Charlie Brooker's
shitty
Black
Hollywood
Mirror
films.
was at its best when it was on Channel 4 here in the UK.
Sold
and then
to
when
Netflix.
it got sold to Netflix and Charlie Brooker went to America, it got shit. I don't know. I think maybe transitioning does kind of ruin people.
Yeah, Blade Runner 2049. I did forget about that. It wasn't the last one that blew me away, because Lapses did come out after that, but that is definitely modern banger. Absolutely 10 out of 10 from me.
What are people talking about in the chat? Someone
Jason
said Morbius. What the fuck is Morbius?
Mobius.
Oh, Mobius.
It's because you've not got your glasses.
Sorry, I haven't got my glasses.
Jason K said, I think you guys are carving out the return to Jodo Vision faction. Well, I mean, I've always been beating this drum, to be honest. I've never changed. Even when I watched the first Dune, I was like, oh, I'm so disappointed it wasn't good. And then at the time, I was working at a technology company that was very involved in cinema, so everybody was very into film and watching lots of films and talking about them. Everybody was like, oh my god, I'm blown away, the soundtrack was incredible, this was incredible, that was incredible. And I was just really like, brother, this was 10% of the film that it could have been. you like don't even understand or know what I'm fucking talking about, which is also the painful thing. Please go and watch this documentary and then you'll understand why I'm so upset. And then actually, like, a couple of my mates at the time did go and watch it, and they're like, yeah, dude, I kind of get it, actually. They had, like, Pink Floyd for the soundtrack. Like, this was going to be fucking nuts. And you're like, yeah, man, this really was.
But it couldn't have been made. It couldn't have been made, though, because, like, it was too big of an idea, too expansive of a vision.
Edit it down.
And I don't really know if Jodorowsky was trying to make a film or if he was trying to start a cult, because he had clearly influenced the consciousness of everybody who he had managed to wrangle together to make this fucking movie.
It's just great. He's just like this fucking rizzed out fucking wizard that would just go to fucking like bougie parties in the equivalent of Soho, but in Paris and fucking all these places, and meet Mick Jagger and fucking,
and be like, you're gonna be in my movie.
Lock eyes with him and literally just do a fucking magic spell on him to make him like be in the movie, basically.
The power of Riz.
He's just an absolutely unbelievable figure.
The power of Riz. Would you join his cult?
Oh, absolutely. It wouldn't even be a second thought. It wouldn't even be a second
You'd be
thought.
like, I'm buying whatever Kool-Aid you're selling.
If I met a modern filmmaker that was rizzed out wizard vibes like Jodo and was like, I love what you do, your skills specifically, even I actually have skills that could genuinely be of use within the fucking some crazy wizard that wanted to make films. So if he really did approach me, I'd be 100% fucking sold. Just be like, where are we going, brother? Let's fucking make this shit happen.
Oh my goodness.
Absolutely.
What's up? What else is being said? Laz asks, this is your first time catching a stream. Do we always record Mondays on this time? Welcome.
Who's saying that?
Up there.
Oh.
Welcome.
We try to do it on Mondays.
Yeah, Mondays is usually when, but sometimes we don't, and we do it on a different day, but we try to keep it to Mondays.
We try to keep it at Mondays. We've been a bit spotty recently because life has been happening a little bit, but now we are set up beyond ease.
Yeah, we have a new camera set up.
What do you think of the video? Does the video look okay? Does it look good to you? Because I am actually using my iPhone as a webcam.
Well, we ordered a new one. We ordered a new camera, but then it was the wrong camera, and there was all this noise in the picture.
It looked terrible. I got like a 4K Logitech camera that was over £100. Recommended on YouTube, saw the videos, looked okay.
I think,
and then it was fucking garbage, man.
So we returned it, and then you decided to experiment with your iPhone. But tell us if you like it and if it looks good.
Bang.
Otherwise, we're just gonna buy another one.
J. George looks nice.
Okay, well, cool.
Sold.
It fucking works.
Sold.
It fucking works. Sold. Sold. But yeah, what was I say? What were we saying? Any more in the chat? Anything else in the chat?
He did a surrealistic play in Mexico City with freaking Leona Carrington.
Yeah.
He did. He's a crazy guy.
Crazy guy.
Being a rizzed out wizard is my life goal. I think the nearest thing we got is Kojima. Disagree. Heavy disagree on that one. Since he lives on the eternal dream blunt rotation.
Kojima is like a fucking suit, in my opinion.
Kojima has got pseudo riz.
He's got pseudo riz. I think people invest a lot into him that he doesn't deserve, in my opinion. Like, he kind of sucks.
I think Kojima made an incredible legendary game series and franchise with Metal Gear Solid. I honestly have not really enjoyed, apart from PT, that weird demo he did on PS4, which was like got cult status. I have not enjoyed anything else that he's done.
It's like
So-
Guillermo del Toro. Guillermo del Toro is a fucking scam and has been for a long time.
Yeah.
I was in Philadelphia with my friend a couple of years ago, and we went to see a film, and the only thing that was on was like his movie with Bradley Cooper, his latest film, and it was so terrible. It was like incoherent, and like a lot of even Crimson Peak. I wanted to love Crimson Peak so badly. It's everything that I love. It's this creepy period Victorian horror.
It's before we all realised how important
terrible.
the source material means for an actor, basically, because it was the discovery of all of the Game of Thrones actors that weren't good actors at all. It's just they had really, really good characters to play that were incredibly well fleshed out and written and everything.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, it's not that he doesn't have any value. Like, I think Pan's Labyrinth is great. I think that he's great at creature design.
apart from Charles Dance.
But he's just not a good...
I'll stand Charles Dance. Charles Dance is a great actor. He's fun.
He's good. But yeah, I don't know. I felt really weird about Dune. And I wanted to be part of culture, which is why I went to watch it. I wanted to feel like I was part of humanity and
and it
part
was
of the current thing.
Yeah, as I said, I did work at a company that was involved with cinema technology, and they had this fucking crazy ass theater, like cinema theater there as well. So that's where I was watching movies for basically the last 8 years, and now I have to go to peasant fucking commercial theaters. Unless I want to pay £25 to go to like a nice, good theatre.
Yeah.
Which does make it £50 for both of us to go and see the film.
The cinema we went to yesterday
was
in Camden
utter
was
fucking garbage.
Awful. Like, and also the people's cinema etiquette has also
no one
fallen
can
into
watch a movie
yeah.
anymore, dude. Everyone's getting up and fucking rustling and all sorts. I was
Talking,
just like, dude,
people are used to streaming shit in their house, so they don't know how to like behave respectfully around other people.
I might as well have bought a bucket of KFC in and been dunking it in gravy, hot gravy, and just like not caring. And just like gone for it.
My God.
Do you know what I mean? Because there's like nobody gives a shit anymore.
No.
And,
it's awful. And like, I don't know. It feels like this weird liminal space now.
Yeah, it was. I don't know.
Post-COVID, things have really changed. The vibe has shifted.
The vibe has shifted. I
now
think.
There's like weird AI events bleeding into the real world, and things that used to be like.
Oh, we didn't really talk about the OpenAI lawsuit thingy.
Oh yeah, we should talk about that.
Well, it's only a quick one, but it could be a big one.
Okay, go on, fill us in then.
But basically, Elon Musk is suing OpenAI because they were founded as a non-profit organization to better humanity. Right?
Anytime these like fucking crazy tech billionaires start using Evangelion villain language, you need to like
and then they started basically fucking making a whole different section of the company to make money and doing all this stuff, and even though it has like limited stock options and all these things, like you can still make money that way. And that basically Elon Musk is saying that the interests of OpenAI are now too heavily weighted into making money over their original status as like a non-profit, and so they shouldn't be like regarded as a non-profit, that it's going to change like the structure of OpenAI basically, and how they make decisions and all sorts of things. And I think that basically this actual making money, not making money, have they invented AGI, like general artificial intelligence or not, is also part of the big scuffle that happened with Sam Altman and him like trying to get evacuated from the company and then coming back and all of this kind of thing. Because a lot of their contracts, even their big contract with Microsoft, is written that they can only use stuff up to a certain level, and anything that would be considered AGI, they don't have any ability to use or profit from, and that retains in OpenAI's ownership. And a lot of people are speculating and conspiracy theorizing that they've already done this, but it is just not a model that is released to the public, and that this is this thing called Q-Star, which was
I was gonna ask
written in the
this
papers.
got something to do with the Q-Star thing that's been fucking
and some
so what is it? Explain what it is.
Nobody knows what it is. nobody outside of OpenAI knows what Q-Star is. It's been mentioned and written about in papers and in some of these, what would you call it? Statements from people within some of these lawsuits and stuff. So people know about it via that, but there's been no actual, like, this is what Q-Star is. It does this. This is what we can do with it now. So, yeah. You look pretty zoned out.
No, I'm just like, what does this mean? Like, why is Elon Musk suing OpenAI?
Because they're making money.
And he's not a part of that? Is that what it is?
Basically.
Or is he doing it under the pretense of, like, being a fucking
I think he's
philanthropist?
He's doing it under the pretense of
who cares about humanity and, like, whatever.
All of this money was set up as essentially, and they even prefaced this on the thing, don't regard this as a normal investment and regard this as like
a donation
or whatever, and anything that comes in like a post AGI world, like money, is sort of something we'll have to reconsider as a society and stuff, like all these sorts of ideas, basically. Right. So like, yeah, if that's the case and they have developed AGI and their original purpose was to benefit humanity, that essentially means that they need to, like, anything that they make from any money they make from this AGI, from this stuff, from Q-Star, from anything that they have got laying up in the pipeline, or even just now, needs to start being like distributed to humanity. I think is kind of like maybe some of the underlying point that Elon Musk is trying to make. And I'm part of humanity, so distribute some of that to me. Is kind of also some of it, but just like, fair play, dude. You've got the lawyers to go and ask them that question. You don't ask, you don't fucking get, and that's fair play. Like, I wish I had lawyers to go and ask them. Maybe I should try and look that up.
Maybe we should all collectively try to sue OpenAI for some of the money that's made from this mysterious Q-Star project.
We'll wait and see. It's an interesting time. It's an interesting time to be alive.
Definitely.
You know,
definitely. What is the expectation with AGI?
That it will.
Because most people say that we're not anywhere close to achieving AGI.
Oh, really?
It seems to be two different factions of people. There's people who say we're nowhere close, and then there are people who are like, it's been achieved for a very long time, and you just don't know about it.
I think Duncan Trussell had a very good little comment last time he was on Joe Rogan, which was like, this is all the stuff that you just see. Imagine all the stuff you don't see.
True.
Imagine, fuck OpenAI. Imagine what the CIA has in some fucking bunker somewhere, dude. Like,
True.
Fuck knows.
Yeah, the military
fuck
and
knows.
Like, all that stuff.
And then even like how much decision making or market bullshit that seems random and incoherent to us is actually done through decisions already from this thing.
True. Like
there's a whole that's a whole like tinfoil hat thought pattern to go down.
True.
But it's a fucking real thing.
True.
Like if they've got like, especially now, like they're talking about fucking, they got aliens, they got all this crazy shit. What other shit have they got down there, bro? What other shit have they got
What's in
down
the
there?
bunkers?
What's in the bunkers,
Jake demands to know what's in the fucking bunkers.
I'm still gutted that Charge Area 51 never succeeded.
The meme didn't come to fruition.
I'm gutted because if you really,
the meme prophecy was aborted.
I think like how many people was even there? Like 20,000 people or something.
I don't think anyone really showed up for that shit.
There was like a few thousand people there at least.
I don't think so.
If not 10,000, if not 20,000 people there, I think you're
inflating the numbers slightly.
It wasn't like 2 people.
I feel like if you lived in America, you would have like definitely been at Storm Area.
But it was just for a party, and I feel like that was misplaced. I feel like if you've got 10,000, 20,000 people, dude. That's like a lot of people. They're not gonna gun down 20,000 people.
You never know.
No, they're not gonna gun down 20,000 people, dude.
And I doubt
you just gotta go in there. Like you just gotta go in there. Like it really.
January 6th.
It really is that simple.
Oh my gosh.
Maybe this year, maybe next year, on when the president thing happens on January 6th. All I'm asking you, America, and what I'm wishing for Santa this year for Christmas is that on January 6th,
his dreams come true.
they all go to fucking Area 51 instead of Washington DC. Okay, because there's way more.
Things.
There's way cooler things and way more fun to be had there than there is at Nancy Pelosi's desk, and he didn't even take a shit on it, man. Like, you just put, or did he?
I don't think he did. No.
Oh, he didn't even take a shit on it, dude. Like, you just put your boots on it. Like, that's just for stunting for social media. That's fucking lame. That's fucking lame. You could go and find aliens for real, and you're there like stunting on social media.
If I found aliens, the first thing I would do is like
stunt on social media.
Yeah, is tweet about
I mean,
it. So, you know.
I don't know if that's stunting on social media or if that's just like disclosure.
Informing humanity.
That's just responsible journalism. You know? That's just responsible journalism.
Well, guys,
it's been a blast.
It's been a blast. Hang on, let's look at the chat before we...
I want a screening of The Zone of Interest and thank the Lord... What was that? Thank Lord people were quiet. My fellow Americans, it's been a pleasure to be anally probed by a little green man. There you go. Thanks, J. George. Thanks, Jason, for engaging in the chat and having fun and hanging out with us.
And thank you for everyone else who is watching this evening. We will catch you again next week. We had a guest on, so there's like a episode that's in the backlog that needs editing that's going to be put up, and then we're also going to stream. And after we're done with our last Tibetan Book of the Dead book club, we're going to make all of the book clubs live for anyone who wants to watch them for free.
Hell yeah.
But if you want to join us for the next book club, come join us on our Patreon. It takes you to our Discord where we hang out. We have a really chill, cool community there of very sweet people where we discuss schizo things.
And if you enjoyed today stream, podcast, all of above, then hit subscribe and share it with your friends.
Yes. Thank you very much, and we'll catch you later.
See you.